Welcome back. Here today we have got round 12 of the F1 Manager Sim League. It was meant to be 3 races yesterday and then 2 today. I was busy last night, so I didn't do that third event. Then today I've got Slipstream Racing League, so I believe it's only going to be 1, but then as a result you'll get 1 on Sunday, hopefully around 8 PM. So yeah, let me quickly just post this into the Discord server, which will be public to you at the end of this week. So yeah. There we go, the link's in chat. Hello to you too, Rodrigo. And now, let's have a look at your starting grid. Pole position, Charles Leclerc with Sergio Perez lining up alongside. It's another Ferrari starting on front row with Thierry Pourchaire down in P3. Haas, really good form as of recent. Valtteri Bottas lining up 4th on the grid. George Russell in 5th, being the second of Ferraris, with Lando Norris, Norris's direct championship rival, in P6. Oscar Piastri lines up P7 with Daniel Ricciardo P8. Yuki Tsunoda, yes, as Rodrigo just said in chat, they're in top 10. Yuki for Mercedes 9th. Franco Colapinto P10 for McLaren, with Lewis Hamilton in P11, Fernando Alonso in 12th, Alexander Albon 13th, Isaac Hadjar 14th, Liam Lawson 15th, Pierre Gasly in P16, Ollie Behrman 17th, 18th goes to Carlos Sainz, Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 19th, and then Max Verstappen, last but not least, in P20 here. Anyways, let's get into it.
Welcome back, everyone. The final preparations, and now you can hear the excitement in the crowd here at the Belgian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Let's quickly DNF the drivers as per usual. Oh, anyways, we are now underway. Leclerc covers off the threat from Sergio Perez into turn 1. Bottas has moved up into P2, not P2, P3, as Pourchaire drops to 4th. As you can see there, just a massive queue down the hill they now go into the next few corners. Currently Leclerc leading once again. He's done so quite a bit recently, yet last time he won, if I'm right, was at Silverstone. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, maybe he was hungry, one or the other. But yeah, Pourchaire to the inside of Valtteri Bottas, trying to remove the V-carb into the podium, and he succeeds. Bottas, fastest lap of the race at the moment, as DRS now enabled, as they all go down through Radion de la Rouge, and now Perez DRS on Charles Leclerc. Will he go to the inside? Yes, yes he will. Will he be ahead though? No, he had to try and fight it through the chicane, but unable to do so. As Bottas putting a bit of pressure on Thierry Pourchaire here. Haas looking good for a possible podium, as the man who got a podium, not a podium, my bad, points the last race for the first time this season, Liam Lawson. He has an incident here, as it's literally him looking up and just sending Albon off with him, which is quite a comical mistake. As now you can see the top 7 clearly breaking off from the rest of the field. The Haas being the sole outliers. Bottas currently splitting the two battles between Red Bull Ferrari and V-carb, one half's in the top 3, the other half's in 5th to 6th, as you could see there. Porsche having a little go at Charles Leclerc. But anyways, now down through Radio and Rouge for the 3rd time of the 44 times. There's Porsche to the inside of Leclerc. He just cruises ahead as Leclerc no DRS, as he was just outside of that precious 1 second from Sergio Perez. Bottas also having a glance at Leclerc through P1 there, but wasn't able to do it. But who was is Lando Norris, as he's up into P5 now, leading George Russell. He won last race for the 4th time this season, extended his championship lead over George Russell, and now it's a big chance for him to make an extension after taking it in Monza. Down into turn 1 they go. Russell just battles his way ahead, as you can see there. Porsche now all over the back end of Sergio Perez. Up the hill they go. DRS for Porsche to the inside, as you can see back there. Bottas also trying to make a move on Leclerc, just like Porsche did so with Perez, as now Norris tries to have a piece of that cake, which is P4, and now Norris just following through with this battle for a while. Isaac Hadjar mechanical fault. Not the best of things, so as Albon, as their Perez fighting Porsche. Up into turn 1, unable to get the move done. So they will work their way back down the hill here and back up, as it's a little like crest or whatever, as Perez to the inside. Bottas tries following through, but Porsche fends them both off with ease, as he continues to lead this race, as Oscar Piastri breaks into the top 6. George Russell now 7th. Yeah, this is just a matter of fact on when Russell can work his way back through the field. We've seen numerous times this season Russell starting out of place, so has Norris to be fair, and they went on to win in those occasions, or even get a really good result such as top 3. So do not rule them out here, even though they may be 4th and 7th, and looks like their teammates are getting the better of them, which they did in quali. They aren't out of the running, as there's Porsche to the inside, outside of Perez, unable to get the move done. Now following through there, as there's a yellow flag. It's for Pierre Gasly. I was going to say Yuki Tsunoda, but let's have a look. Gasly into there. Hadjar makes a bit of contact. Dangerous. And that's them both off.
And clearly then,
as there's a brief reaction, them running. But yeah, let's see whether or not Hadjar does get a penalty for that. I personally think it will be harsh, because that looked like they just braked a bit later and hit him. But yeah, they do get a penalty, 5 seconds for Isaac Hadjar to be added post-race. Not like it will mean much, as Hadjar hasn't had the best season. He hasn't scored a point yet. The other driver who hasn't is Antonelli, but he's been close numerous times. In Monza, he was 1 second off at the end of the main race, and in the sprint he was fighting for a podium until Charles Leclerc punted him off the road. Talking about Leclerc, he is once again behind his teammate, who only got his 2nd podium of the season last time out. As there's Perez trying to fight with Porsche into P1, unable to stick a nose in, but now Porsche starting to get away. You can have a look at tyres. Looks like they'll be going to about lap 14 on the softs. However, Yuki Tsunoda, maybe even Fernando Alonso, could be looking at about lap 21 on their compound to try and do a 1-stop and really find some places here. as there's Leclerc overtaking Oscar Piastri. Up into P5 the Red Bull goes. Will George Russell, however, have a say in it? He likes to have a say in battles, as we've seen numerous times this season, but unable to do so currently. But in the meantime, Porsche, Bottas and Norris all pushing Perez round this lap, as they're all desperately trying to get a move done. Who is trying to get a move done is Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc. He even had a little look there in the slower speed corners up towards Stavilo. As there's Norris overtaking Valtteri Bottas. He's got some DRS, but so does Bottas. Round the outside of turn 1, unable to get the move done here. Piastri, however, getting up into P5. Rodrigo has just pointed out that Mercedes are still in top 10, which is something new in their dynamic. But yeah. Anyways, Norris had a look to the outside of Bottas there. Wasn't able to get the move done. But there's George Russell up into P6. One other thing to point out is Alonso versus Daniel Ricciardo here, P8. The Aston Martin looked really under threat from Haas in the constructors as a result of last weekend. And now it's Alonso desperately trying to push himself up the field. If he can chime in with the top 7, he could possibly try and minimise how many points the Haas gains, as Bottas currently in P3. As we can see here, Sergio Perez to the inside of Terry Porsche, back up into the lead goes the Ferrari. And if in this top 7 Piastri, Bottas or Perez wins, we will see, if I'm right, a 5th race winner this season. Norris 4, Russell 3, Leclerc 3, Porsche 1 in terms of the amount of wins they've got. So yeah, as long as Perez, Bottas or Piastri wins, you've got a new winner. But currently Perez, your favourite to do so. He's just been overtaken by Théo Pourchaire there. As you see a little traffic light. I wonder what they do. As Hamilton and Verstappen into the pits, double stacking on lap 11. Oliver Behrman, however, fastest lap of the race. But yeah, we are roughly a quarter of the race through, and I'll be honest, the strategies here, either 2 or 3 stop. If you do 11, 11, 11, that's an easy 3 stop, which could be what Sauber's are on, as Leclerc's hit with a mechanical fault. However, if you go to about lap 14, you could probably do 14, 14, then 18, not 18, 16, and go 2 stop. So they're both open doors. Or you could try and do what Yuki Tsunoda's doing, and that's a 1 stop. If he makes it, I'd say to about lap 25, he can go to the end on mediums. Only doing 19 laps, so yeah, that's another strategy available as Oscar Piastri really burning out the tyres. He's going to be joining the likes of Hamilton, Verstappen, Antonelli, Albon on that, well, more stop strategy, as Leclerc and Piastri and the Red Bulls have dropped off from this leading group, as Norris, fastest lap of the race, as he leads. Porsche trying to make it a V-carb 1-2 now. Can he overtake Sergio Perez, however? DRS now for the V-carb, to the inside he goes here, down the Kennel Straight, up into P12. No, not P12, P2 he goes, as Piastri has came out P11. You just wait for the next overtaking opportunity, really. Albon and Lawson swapping places on the Kennel straight, however. Hadjar has served his 5 seconds, so yeah, now he can put his head down a bit and focus on gaining places. Hamilton right behind Pierre Gasly as Bottas into the pits. Will he come out ahead or behind Oscar Piastri? Of course, Piastri pitting that lap earlier, so there's a possibility for an undercut. But Bottas will come out ahead, as there's Hamilton desperately trying to overtake Pierre Gasly. Verstappen, his teammate who started last year, whilst Hamilton started 11th, right behind him now. As you can see there, Hamilton DRS on the Mercedes, unable to get past, which is fairly odd in respect to the driving capabilities of the Sauber drivers, both arguably being the best drivers. But currently, I'd say Lando Norris and George Russell are the best drivers on the grid. Maybe even chuck Charles Leclerc into that, as there's the two Saubers swapping places. Could Verstappen now get the move done? No, he's had to fight Hamilton off there. Antonelli mechanical fault up the hill, there you go. However, Piastri DRS on Colapinto, who has some on Valtteri Bottas, who is now set off to hunt down the likes of Alonso, Ricciardo and Yuki, who are 6th down to 8th, but yet to pit. We could actually see quite a few one-stoppers in the mix here, as if Leclerc can go about 2 more laps on him, go to the hards, he could probably go to the end if he nurtures the tyres. Lando Norris, however, he can probably go to the end if he hits lap 24 with ease. He could probably even do it from lap 20 as Leclerc into the pits. He's going on to softs. He is plummeting downfield. He's going to be behind Oscar Piastri. He's going to be behind Carlos Sainz as well, just to add a bit of salt to the wound, as Bottas overtaking there on Fernando Alonso, but Alonso just able to defend that ever so slightly. But Bottas gets the move done there. And up into the top 5 goes the Haas. He's in for a good place. Last time out, he'd done an extra stop, then the leaders, and had to charge through the field. He came P3 in the end, after leading so much of that Italian GP. Here, he also looks like he's going to be trying to recreate that strategy, but in hopes of winning for Haas, as there is probably a change-up brewing, as Perez overtakes Porsche. George Russell going to try and make it 2 Ferraris into the top 3, unable to do so, as Lando Norris really pulling away. As Ricciardo, he's up with Colapinto here, yet to pit. As Antonelli has fairly severe damage, I'd say, which isn't good at all. As Alonso finally pits, great timing for Oscar Piastri, as he doesn't have to worry about the threat. What's Gasly's tyres are looking like? 37%. He's going to be dropping. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race. It's going to be very heavy on strategy as well, as it's quite unclear what strategy is the favourable one. Because Bottas, he's 11 seconds off the lead, but he's pitted already, as Perez into the pits, first of the Ferrari and V-Carbs to do so in this race. Could that be a bold strategy call, maybe to try and trigger an undercut from Terry Porsche. And the to Porsche pitting to cause a bit of havoc at V-Car. As there's a yellow flag out on the track. Can't tell who for. It's Colapinto.
But this is what happened.
Who's ran wide.
Right, so
turn
this was
4.
the 4th corner. Just a bit too wide at that point.
Fairly subtle, but yeah. As Russell trying to get past Porsche now, because Valtteri Bottas is there, and you can see just in the background Oscar Piastri is catching, so there will have to be a move done quite quickly if I was the Haas. Will he be able to do it? Will either of the two in front pit? Into the pit goes Porsche, covering off Sergio Perez clearly, as Piastri now within 3 seconds of Russell. VSC has came out. Absolute beautiful timing for Porsche. He's not going to be losing too much time from a pit stop here.
Now I'm finding out what's happened here.
It's
It looks
Liam
to
Lawson
be the McLaren
who has
that's
crashed
involved.
out in turn
Let's take a
13.
look at
Let's
the
have a look at this.
Here we are then, reaching turn 13.
Yeah, just drops the ball and you can't see the rest of it. But yeah, that's Liam Lawson out. Has Yuki pitted? Yes, yes he has. But it's a good time for Ricardo Ganzini and probably Nelson Russell to pit. If Norris pits, he will probably come out leading in this race. So that's Haas's strategy out the window. And a very favourable position for Lando Norris, as we could see the Racing Bull win a 5th race this season, or be 2 on the bounce. He won out in Monza. He could very much win here at Spa as well, as he stays out. I would have actually pitted. Will Russell pit, however? Yes, yes he does. Where will he come out, however, compared to his teammate? VSC, you do lose less time, but there was a slow stop by George Russell. There's signs round the outside of turn 1. Oop, went the wrong way. But Russell ahead of Sainz and ahead of Perez, so he's covered off the undercut very well. As VSC is ending. What timing indeed for Norris. Horrible timing more than anything, as he's still out on track. But we have gone green once again here at Spa. Let's see how it goes for Norris as well, because he will need to pit in the next few laps. Will he pit on lap 21, however? He missed the opportunity last time round. He's going to keep powering on. You can have a look at the tyres. He could actually be pitting round about when Valtteri Bottas does so, or when Hamilton does so, which really brings his strategy into effect. As I'll be honest, he is now favourite to win, because Russell, yes, he got that free stop, but it wasn't like he was gaining much when it came to him pitting. As there's a safety car, has Norris just waited for the best time?
Happened with Gasly there?
As there's a crash involving multiple cars, it's PA Gasly here.
Dangerously
As
close
let's have
to
a
each
look
other.
at what happens. I think that's Isaac Hadjar goes straight into the back of him, as they both go pirouetting off the circuit. As yeah, it was Hadjar, and that is both of them out of this race. DRS is disabled. Hadjar, Gasly, both out of the race now. We are in for a treat, as the whole pack neutralises. Will Bottas come out leading? I personally think Bottas Piastri are going to take a free stop here, and so will Sainz probably. Most cars will, as Hadjar 5 seconds, but he's out. Into the pits comes Lando Norris. He's surely going on to the hard compounded tyres. No, he's on the softs, as Bottas and Piastri start to limp down the pit lane now. Norris comes out in the lead. There's hards going on to Bottas. There's probably even hards on Piastri. What about Sainz? He's going on to the mediums. Looks like a slow stop. Alonso onto another set of softs. As Leclerc out on hards. With Verstappen and Hamilton going onto the mediums here. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. What about him? Behrman is going onto softs. It was a slow stop. Antonelli onto the hards. Alex Albon. What is it? It's going to be hard. So quite a few picking out the hard compounder tyres. But I'd say for likes of Alonso and Behrman and Norris, they will probably end up hitting again. So strategy may have not necessarily gone their way here. As you can see, them all behind the safety car queue here. Well, this unravels a few statistics. Yeah, Norris leads this championship by 15 points. Well, safety car lasted very long indeed. So yeah, Russell, if he wins, as long as Norris pits again and comes out around 6th, should take the lead of this championship as we advance one step closer to the break, as the next 2 races are Azerbaijan and Singapore. As safety car is now in. When will Lando Norris run? He does so now. He has the rest of the field following behind him. As into turn 1 they go. Yellow flags already waving. Safety car already deployed. As it looks like it's Carlos Sainz and Oscar Piastri. Let's have a look here. Into turn 1 it's Oscar Piastri. POV.
And the contact between the
as
cars,
he gets clipped from behind. If I'm right, that is Carlos Sainz who clips him. And that's both of them out of this race. And now, that's even more help for Norris, as there's a few more laps to hang on. But yeah, when one safety car ends, another one starts. How nice. As there's something we can actually see happen in this race. Apart from Sainz penalty, it could be the most constructors of the season scoring points. Currently it's 8, which we saw quite a few times. But as things stand, it's also 8. But if Norris, Russell, Perez, Porsche drop out of points, and either Alonso, Behrman or Albon steps in, we will see 9. But who knows, Piastri current fastest lap holder of this race. And now we just wait. I honestly don't know how many more DNFs and safety cars we will have here, but we've already had 5, which is a right old joy for Spa. Been a very busy race indeed. But yeah, safety car going around for one more lap. As we didn't get the chance to last safety car, we will go for a few more of the statistics. In terms of the standings, most podium this season is Lando Norris. Yeah. I'm back. But yeah, Currently most podiums this season, Lando Norris, he's on 8. He's got 4 wins, 4 seconds. His closest rival in the standings, of course, being second in that tally. George Russell has 7. He has 3 wins, 3 seconds and 1 third. While Charles Leclerc is third with 3 wins and 1 P3. Yeah, it kind of just evens out down the field. The current gap between Piastri and Alonso is 15 points. Both of them out of this race, as long as Bottas, well, both of them aren't in the points of this race. On the basis Bottas wins with fastest lap, he will advance to 7th. He will jump both Alonso and Piastri. On the basis he comes top 5 with fastest lap, he will jump Piastri. On the basis he wins without fastest lap, he will tie with Alonso. Just for some perspective here. Alex Albon, he's only got 1 point so far this season. He's really struggling in that Williams car compared to his teammate. Colapinto, as of Monza, he's now 1 point behind his teammate. He's currently sitting in P9, as you can see there, as the cars are weaving. That he is currently scoring 2 points, which will put him back ahead of Liam Lawson, which could possibly reignite McLaren's hopes of advancing from 10th in the standings. But yeah. And then we also have, Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly. Currently 13th and 14th in the standings. They're 2 points apart. Yuki can really extend it here, as he's in P6. Safety car, however, in this lap, so no more time for talk. Isaac Ajar, however, he's out of this race. His best finish is 15th. Whereas everyone else, it's at least 11th here. Just showing how far back he is from the rest. As it's now green flags. We can get some racing once more here. Lap 27 of 44. All cars can probably go to the end. Is there going to be another safety car though? We've still got about half the race to go. Big opportunities for an incident to unravel. They've all got through first corner cleanly. Norris, he's under pressure from George Russell, who's just dragging himself along at the moment, as they get through all fine. As you can see there, Verstappen having a little chance at Colapinto. Russell, mechanical fault, however, that's advantage to Norris, as Alonso has found his way past Max Verstappen here. As that's both Saubers out of the points here. Just a bit like how they were off the pace in Monza. They're really struggling in general at the moment. We have 2 really good drivers. They're scrambling over little points. As Norris has pulled away, as Bottas overtakes Russell. Perez also went down the inside. DRS is now enabled. We've seen it be disabled numerous of times this race, but now it's back online once again as Russell tries to fight back against Bottas. He does it with ease through turn 5, as that's Russell back into P2, as it looks like Norris is back in a stage of his championship where he'll just be pulling away, gaining points on him. As, yeah, this race has really quietened down a bit now. As we've just seen it all go back underway, they've all started spreading out, but Bottas back up into P2, Verstappen mechanical fault, Hamilton also mechanical fault. As you see there, Perez trying to overtake Russell, but instead under threat from Porsche there. As Leclerc versus Ricciardo up through Radion de la Rouge. Ricciardo, DRS on the Red Bull, to the inside he goes. He will move up into P6. That's Charles Leclerc down a place, as the 2 Saubers swapping positions here over P10. As we've got good chance for either Colapinto, Berman or Antonelli to score another point here. Antonelli, the only car left running who hasn't scored a point yet, so it'd be really nice to see them do it. But we don't always get that. I've wanted him to do it since about China. That's roughly when he started to deserve it, but unable to do so until now. Could he do it today, however? He's dropping off from the fight over 10th. However, Russell gets some DRS on Lando Norris here. He's going to use it to go to the inside of Lando and up into the lead goes the Ferrari, who currently has fastest lap of this race. So even though there's 15 points between them, he's gaining quite a chunk. And now Norris trying to fight back, which is going to be your biggest dynamic of the season, Russell versus Norris. Earlier this season I said it would have been Leclerc versus Norris after their massive duel at the end in Japan, but it's now shifted over to these two as Bottas trying to move his way into a podium position here. Well, he's already in one, I mean top two. But now Perez, as a result of Bottas's poor exit, all over the back of him. Norris surely goes to the inside. No, he won't. He will hang on. But what happens behind is Tsunoda versus Ricciardo over P6 to the inside. Still Tsunoda, but Ricciardo will get the better line through there. Gasly just round the outside, a bit better traction. Leclerc going to try and follow through round the outside of Pouon. But it's P8 for the Red Bull. There's two Saubers currently still fighting with Franco Colapinto over P10. Behrman just dropping out of DRS now. Antonelli a good 5 seconds back. So it's safe to assume this won't be his race, as Hamilton leading the two still. As Norris and Russell having a little switch around, as there's Hamilton being overtaken by Verstappen here. And now the gap between the Saubers currently 43 points in Hamilton's favour. Verstappen, he's going to need these points if he wants to catch. Colapinto now up into P11 as Hamilton drops down to 12th. But yeah, we'll go back to the leaders for a bit, as we have about 11 laps to go here. All of them on path to go to the end with their current tyres and current strats. Norris found the outside of Russell there. Into the lead he goes again, as they are actually dropping off from Valtteri Bottas now, who is 1.8 behind him. Perez to the not outside, inside, and he overtakes Norris. Now mechanical fault. That really evens out the playing field, as Porsche, he's just sitting behind Perez and Bottas, trying to wait for an opportunity to really overtake. But as things stand, Ferrari will regain the championship lead over their rivals of Racing Bulls, as Red Bull at the end of this race will officially be 100 points behind the championship leaders, as Haas should be right on the back end of the Aston Martin, as they have been doing so over the last few races. Perez now on the back of Lando Norris, DRS on the V-carb, to the inside he goes. Will it be P2? Yes it will be a Ferrari 1-2. They failed to do it in the Monza sprint in front of the Tifosi, but this is their next best alternative, the race after, where they could regain the championship leader, which really is making a statement to V-carb, how they need to step their game up if they want to win this championship. As Norris looking all over the shop, trying to find a place to overtake Sergio Perez, but into turn 1 he has a glance to the outside, wasn't able to get the move done, and now down the hill, back up the hill, into the forests they go. Norris, can he regain P2 here? DRS on Perez, to the inside he goes. Russell, a slightly more major mechanical fault now. As yeah, Norris fails to do it. As yeah, it's currently a very quiet race now. But yeah, Porsche trying to overtake Bottas here for P4. Unable to do it. Norris trying to fight with Perez through the first few corners. Very close to recreating Sainz and Piastri on the first safety car restart. That saw them both out of the race. Norris now to the inside of Perez. Surely he's close enough. He's going to fight through the first part. He will get past, and that's him. Up into P2. Can he now catch George Russell is the question. We are less than 10 laps from the end here. And Norris really waiting it out now. But it does look like that Ferrari has better pace. As yeah, currently the gap isn't changing much. Perez having a glance to the inside as Porsche bulldozes his way past Valtteri Bottas here. Up into P4 goes the V-carb. Charles Leclerc has dropped the ball from Daniel Ricciardo and looks to start catching these top 5 cars. As there's Perez to the inside, back up into P2 he goes. As Ricciardo wanted to try and get it back on Fernando Alonso, wasn't quite able to do so. As yeah, Colapinto's in the points. As currently the top 4 completely locked out by the top 2 in the standings, in the order that they will be at the end of this race, if it finishes as it stands. In order for it to go V-carb's way, they will need to take the win here. But currently, they don't seem to be wanting to do that, as the 2 drivers fighting over third here. Surely Porsche won't be fighting Norris, as Bottas now tries to move himself up into P5. Norris DRS now on Sergio Perez. To the inside he goes with 5 laps to go. It will be P2, but Perez hangs on. Norris still to the inside, but he will yield and lose the podium place to his own teammate, which really is not what they wanted at all here. As now Porsche, he's going to try and do what Norris couldn't do on Sergio Perez, and that's overtake. As Perez and Porsche are actually catching George Russell now. But yeah, is it a bit too late for them though? Porsche DRS on Perez just to seal the deal. As Bottas to the inside of Norris. That's Norris kicking the curb even more now, as he's forfeiting 16 points to his championship rival, meaning Russell should be taking the lead of the championship again after this race. Norris, mechanical fault. Could Leclerc even get the better of him now, as the gap in the top 3 now 1.5 seconds. It's gonna come down to the wire here, but you can see Bottas and Norris just behind them, about another 1.5 off, and then Leclerc only a second back. Is this race gonna all even out again come the final lap? As there's Perez, DRS on Porsche, he's back up into P2. Norris trying to reassert P4 on Bottas, incapable of doing so. As Porsche, his probably closest fight in this championship is Sergio Perez, maybe even Lewis Hamilton, but with the results of this race it will definitely be the Ferrari, as they're currently fighting over 4th and 5th in standings. Filter and Charles Leclerc in the next race or two though, as Porsche are trying to be overtaken by Valtteri Bottas. 3 laps to go here, and now the battle between the Ferraris can officially begin. There's Perez up into the lead, and we'll also get DRS. No, it's George Russell who does, and Russell tries going to the inside, wasn't able to get moved, as the top 6 now within 2 seconds of each other. So this race really now going down to the final corners and final laps, as any of the top 6 can pick up a win. Can it be Perez? Can it be Bottas even to get the 5th unique winner of the season? Or will it be a repeated winner such as Porsche, Russell or Norris, as Russell does take the lead again, as Leclerc drops out of DRS range once more. So it's now fighting the top 5 over this win. Perez DRS on his teammate. He will try to follow suit, don't overtake, as Norris unable to get past the Haas still. As these laps are ticking out, it's the penultimate lap now, and he's still in P5. And now, Perez versus Russell. They've dropped the field. It's 1.6 between them. Norris has overtaken Bottas. Leclerc's going to overtake Bottas as well. But Bottas trying to hang on as it's final lap now. It's the 2 Ferraris for themselves now. Perez or George Russell. Heading down the hill they go. Perez surely gets DRS here, as now into the next corner they go, down Kennel Straight. Perez yields to Russell, as Leclerc has gained about 3 places there in one straight. He's up into P4, and Norris, he now wants to try and find an overtake or 2. Perez looked to the inside for P1 though, as the 2 Ferraris fighting, as Norris drops off the podium to Charles Leclerc. But Norris fights back. He's back up into P3 here. Leclerc, now it's a drag race between the 2. Leclerc will get the move done. As will there be a move into the final corner to take the lead here. As Russell, he will fend off his teammate. He wins, followed by Leclerc, then Norris, Porsche, then Bottas in P6. Daniel Ricciardo escapes the wrath of Alonso though, who finishes 8th. Colapinto, more points for McLaren. 2nd race in a row where they've scored after such a drought. As we are just waiting for Alex Albon to limp through the final corner now to finish this race, as there's 15 finishers of the 20.
Sometime.
But that was a race and a half. As George Russell wins this race with fastest lap, Sergio Perez comes home P2, right where he started. Charles Leclerc finishes off P3, with Lando Norris in 4th, Porsche 5th, Valtteri Bottas in 6th, Daniel Ricciardo 7th, 8th place goes to Fernando Alonso, 9th to Franco Colapinto, with Yuki Tsunoda P10, Max Verstappen P11, Lewis Hamilton 12th, Behrman 13th, Antonelli 14th, Albon 15th, then Piastri, Sainz, Gasly, Hadjar, Lawson, all failing to finish here. But for those who have watched, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you later for Slipstream Racing League. If I stream before then, it's me doing this F1 Manager Sim League once again. But that's it for me. Goodbye.